Just want to do a couple of these. So think of these rhythmic cells, the rhythmic figures. They're kind of like words. Like you will learn to recognize them pretty quickly. And it's part of it, like memorizing, like the first note is A. Every time you see that, if you see it enough times, you're not thinking about it anymore. You're just, oh, that's an A. Same thing with these rhythmic groups. If I go back, actually, if we go to the minuet, we're in 3/4. There's 3 beats in a measure. When you see that first measure, it's 4 eighth notes followed by a quarter note. In your mind, this is why we read all these tunes, because it's constant reinforcement. But in your mind, you should immediately just hear ba 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 ba. That's what it is, and then you can apply the notes to it, and then everything else. These are all chord notes and 2 beats. Ba. Oops. Okay, that kind of thing. And then think about the note relationships. So rhythm is pretty simple math. It's simple to think about. It's a bit more difficult to actually execute. So we're talking about relationships. Here's our quarter note. Normally, we're going to cut it in 2 with 8th note. So the 8 notes are this fast. The quarter note is still here. And then half notes are twice as long. So you hold them. That's mostly what we're doing. And then we get to this odd little grouping of a dotted note. And a dotted note is just like this half note and a quarter note. You're going bam to bam, right? If we go to the next page, to the dotted quarter and eighth, it's the same basic idea. You can, in other words, how do I explain this? You can break it down. Wait, we'll get to the dotted rhythm in a second. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna play these. 1, 2, 3. Part of the challenge with these is the rhythms are old school. This is like an old style of music. We don't hear rhythms like this very often right now. Air. And what I want you to do is watch this video, follow along with your eyeballs, okay? And then try to play it. Because that's part of what is going to teach you. So look at this other rhythmic cell, like the first measure in the next one. Ba, 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 ba. 1, 2, ba. Okay? Once you see that and once you memorize it, every time you see that rhythmic cell, it happens probably 20 times on just these 2 pages, right? So then you can just start to focus on what the note groupings are. And also, even with the notes, you're going to start to recognize note groupings, like with these on the first page, starting here, going down, going back, and then up. That happens. Anyway, a lot. Okay, here we go. And we're in D minor now, which means there's a B flat. So 1, 2, 3. about these pieces is they tend to be, back in the day especially, they tended to be very thematic. So whatever happens, they're going to drill it into your brain. So by the end of the piece, you should have that da, 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 da. You should know how to play that, and you should know what it looks like. And carry that knowledge with you. Now, we're going to have a few more complicated rhythms, but starting with the first measure on the trumpet tune. We're in 4/4 now, and it's da, 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 da. Okay? This, the dotted rhythm. Let's talk about the dotted rhythm. So quarter notes, 1, 2, end. Okay? So we're thinking, this is our quarter note, and we're thinking in eighth notes.
Okay.
Right? Because when you see that dot, that means that note is going to be worth 3 eighth notes. So a quarter note is worth 2. Add the dot as an extra one. So it's 3 eighth notes. So if you're feeling in your body, 1, 2, 3, ba. It's really no different than if you had 3 quarter notes and another quarter note, right?
Okay.
So if you had a dotted half note and a quarter note, it's the same thing. You could still be going 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. But this, because it's a quarter note and eighth note, it happens quicker. So, but it's still, if you slowed it down, it's still 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I played that whole measure, counting in eighth notes, each quarter note is going to be worth 2. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just like our, I have to sneeze. Just like when we're learning our bass lines and all our funk tunes, most of that stuff we're breaking up into 8-beat measures, right? And that's what it is. The 8 beats are eighth notes, right? And it's the same thing here. The other way that you can feel this, if you're feeling in quarter notes, if my quarter note is here, I can play with the quarter note, and if I'm playing eighth notes, I'm playing 2, right? So you're imagining that second one instead of actually tapping it, right? So then the rhythm would sound 1, 2, 3, 4, and, right? So not that big a deal. When you get to the next measure, eighth note and 16th note, all that is it's the same thing but twice as fast. So reading rhythms is this constant process of shifting gears. You have to be able, again, older stuff is pretty regular in their beats. Charlie Parker, all over the place, right? But so this is the same rhythm. If we slowed that down in the second measure, eighth note followed by 16th, if we reduce that, we know that there's 3 16th notes in a dotted eighth note, right? Does that make sense? Because in an eighth note, there's 2 16th notes, and you put a dot, and that means you add half again as much. So you get an extra one. Go ahead. Hi, Ed. Hello. Hi. Yeah, go ahead. Go. So it's the same thing. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the basic idea. Just like the dotted quarter to the eighth. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's twice as much, or twice as fast. So I'm going to play that. We're in D major. 3, 4. So I'm switching from going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2. Okay?
I see.
Da, da. That's what my brain is doing.
Yeah.
Just switching. It's just twice as fast. So one of the things that you practice at is just with a metronome. If this is your metronome, you can practice right with the metronome, then immediately switch to 2s, and then 4s. Or even 3s. That's a little harder to go to 3s because it's different division. Or 5s. drummers do. You practice going between it's called a subdivision of the beat. So the main concept, a really important concept in rhythm is the quarter note. The quarter note is where you generally set the metronome. And being able to double that speed, triple that speed, quadruple that speed, those are the main things that you do. So let me play this whole tune. 3, 4. This one, it happened in the other tune as well, the dotted quarter followed by 2 16th notes, right? Don't be intimidated by that. You just have to sit and think, how many 16th notes would be in a dotted quarter note? 6. Okay. That's right. So 6. So if I'm going to switch to my quarter note or my 16th note tempo, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, da da da. And notice I'm not like, oh shit, oh my god. Okay, you just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, ba ba ba. It's very light. If you're confident about it, it's not that big a deal. So in my head I'm going da 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 3, 4, 5, 6, ba ba. Okay.